hard work is not enough to get you where you want to go. And if you're working hard on the wrong things, it's actually going to delay things or maybe even make matters worse. At one time, I invested in over 100 real estate properties. That was hard work, financing them, right, to get the loans, getting the right property managers in place. I even developed a few of the properties and built them from scratch, and I had to bring in, the construction crews and manage the budgets and all that kind of stuff. It was a huge amount of time, but it didn't leave me wealthier. It left me in a lot more misery, because what I found was that it wasn't a very passive income for me, because I had to make sure the rents were coming in, they put the right people in there was deferred maintenance, we had frozen pipes, we had someone once slip, fall, and hurt their hip, and it wasn't part of what I really wanted to do. It wasn't part of who I really was. We all have an investor DNA. That investor DNA is our core values, those things that really matter to us and that we pay attention to. Our core competencies, those things that we're great at, those abilities, those things that as we pay attention to, we have a different insight and knowledge around it than other people. Like when it comes to technology, I'm not really good. When it comes to finance, I'm really dialed in. When it comes to business, I can remember things and apply things immediately. But then we can go into other areas like art. I'm not quite as good at that. So what is it for you that are your competencies? And then you take your core drivers, those things that you want to be learning about, the things that you get excited about, that you start getting passion for, that maybe you start screaming at the top of your lungs when it comes up, or it's the part you go to at a party to talk about. When we start to look at those three factors of our values, our competencies, and really those drivers, now it's about focus instead of diversifying. What? I just said that. Right? Focus, not diversification, leads to a lot more wealth. When people diversify, they diversify a lot of times. Spread ourselves thin, get involved in things we don't understand, become overly reliant and relegate to other people that may or may not have our best interests in mind, and therefore we don't have the situation that we really want when it turns out. It just happens that they were more of a salesperson than a strategist. So this opinion of, I gotta tell you, hard work isn't enough, is different than what you might hear from people that say it's all about the hustle, it's all about working as hard as you can so that you can get ahead. And then you just miss out on life. You start to drive yourself into a place where you get exhausted. Look, I did this play to win type of philosophy where I was like gonna win at all costs. I was gonna work harder than anyone. It's lucky that I'm still married. When people asked me what my hobbies were, I live in Utah and I was like, I don't ski, I work. And they're like, well, what do you do for fun? Work. I was pretty dull when it really came down to it, because everything was about what could I do to make more money, because I hadn't set a context. The context is the rarest commodity in the world. The thing that most people don't have, not clearly stated, not in a compelling way, is a vision. The vision that we have is the container in which we live. It's a thing that inspires us to move forward. And it's a vision when we don't know how to accomplish it on our own. If we know how to take care of it tomorrow, that's a goal, that's an objective. A vision has a little bit more of a miraculous benefit to it because it has other people that can get involved, bring their abilities. But when it comes to investing, we don't have to just invest in anything that might get a rate of return. Just making money is only part of the equation. It's making money in a way that we can manage our risks, invest in things that we know and understand, know when we can go to the sidelines, because rookie investors, they just always stay invested. They wait for 30 years and they get disappointed that it didn't turn out how it was supposed to be. Professionals sit in cash. Professionals invest in themselves. Professionals only invest in things that make sense to them, and they don't prematurely diversify, because usually when we add the word premature to something, it's not a good thing, right? So premature baby, we would rather see that fully kind of develop before it's born, right? That tends to be a healthier situation. So don't prematurely diversify into things you don't understand. Don't just go work hard in something before you've gotten clear about who you are, what you're capable of, what you want to have happen in this world, and what's aligned with who you are. When I was doing that, I was making less money. I worked 7 days a week. And then someone came up to me. Her name's Bab Smith. She's the wife of Dan Sullivan. They have a company called Strategic Coach. And she challenged me to take days off. And this was like an addiction that I had to get over. I went snowmobiling because there was no phone service. And I had to have the two people I went with, Rick and Gerald, keep me from getting on my phone or wanting to head down and check on everything because I was addicted to work. I was just going to hustle my way to success. And then by taking some days off, I actually went mountain biking, which is a great thing to do here in Utah. Then I started to develop other hobbies, whether it was archery or fishing or stand-up comedy, and it brought another dimension and fulfillment to my life that added. It didn't take away from wealth. wealth, that actually enhance quality of life. I show up a happier, more productive person so that when I am working, it's about doing the right things and doing the right hard work. So let me really break this down into 3 simple parts for you. If you're just working without a clear vision that's so compelling to you that it lives in your heart rather than just on a wall, and you're not clear about what you're doing, then it's time to take some time to think. We're no longer in the time of brawn, where the strongest person wins. We're in the time of brains. And if you can think clearly, in a way like for me, that I want to see 1 million people liberated where they have financial independence, where they change their family's financial future, and they can live wealthy, and they can enjoy quality of life along the way, that compels me. That is exciting to me. I still don't know how to completely achieve it, but it's part of the reason I'm here filming this for you today. So number 1, what is your vision? So what is it that for you would absolutely love to do? And you can find resources at wealthfactory.com/solution to help you get really clear about what I call your soul purpose, which is a key ingredient to establishing that vision. The second thing that you could do is you could start to get more clear about how you can invest in yourself, whether it's a daily ritual and routine, whether it's going to events and learning from great mentors, or whether it's simply figuring out a skill set. See, because I figured out when I want to fish, I took a course on how to tie flies. I had guides come and show me what to do on the river by our cabin. If I tried to do it all on my own, it was going to take far too long. And you can even search through YouTube and you can find great resources, but you start to figure out what is the easiest thing you can do today to take action. How do you create that accountability that you make sure it becomes part of your life? Because the third action that you want to take is you actually want to create time and space in your calendar. If you put something on a task list, it can be easily ignored, or that task list can become so insurmountable that there's just not enough time in the day. So if you find something that's part of your vision, that's compelling to you, that you really want to do, you add it to your calendar with the beginning and end time. Monday from 9:15 to 9:45, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. You've created space. It actually exists in time and space rather than on that task list. And then at the end of every day, I want you to go back and look at your calendar and say, what did I do today that helped me with my vision? And what took me away from my vision or wasn't helpful? And the next day, just make an incremental improvement. How could I spend 5 more minutes or 10 more minutes doing the things that are most important that are going to help me to get past just working hard and hustling, which starts to become about delegation, which starts to become about the thinking and the vision, and it starts to become about enrolling others in what you're doing. Hard work isn't enough. Hustle isn't just going to get you there. It can get you burnout, and you might play to win, but at what cost? You gotta create a game worth winning that's compelling and that's exciting to you. So look, you can check out my other video on how you think is actually costing you money, because that relates to this hustle factor. And once you get beyond that and understand that there's underlying forces of scarcity at play, once you recognize it, you can make a different choice today.